I wanted to post my thoughts on the Hitchens-Dembski debate, and since I'm not the world's greatest YouTuber vlogger, it seems to me I must apologize that it's taken me this long, but many people have posted about it, and I just wanted to share my thoughts. I was up until a few weeks before the debate, I had stopped going to church and had been generally had increasingly more difficult problems with my faith, and this was sort of the thing that finally did it in, and I came out as an agnostic to my very Catholic mother a few weeks afterwards. I don't necessarily want you to get the idea that this was the event that triggered some sort of dramatic shift, like I was a big Christian before and I'm a committed atheist now. This is not the way it happened. It's a lot more along the lines of I really had stopped sort of believing in it, but I didn't see what atheism had to offer, and it actually gave me what I was really looking for in this debate was a reason to believe, or to disbelieve in God, or to not account for God in my life. And Hitchens rather skillfully made me aware of the reason, which had been a part of my life before, and really invoked some of the memories of my childhood, particularly in the clip that I'm about to show you. This is Hitchens' closing, and I must say after this I gave him a standing ovation and then went outside and walked around the hall thinking for a while after that about it. And I'll just let you listen in.
Matters. I'll close on the implied question that Bill asked me earlier. Why don't you accept this wonderful offer? Why wouldn't you like to meet Shakespeare, for example? I mean, I don't know if you really think that when you die you can be corporeally reassembled and have conversations with authors from previous epochs. It's not necessary that you believe that in Christian theology, and I have to say it sounds like a complete fairy tale to me. The only reason I want to meet Shakespeare, or might even want to, is because I can meet him any time, because he is immortal in the works he's left behind. If you've read those, meeting the author would almost certainly be a disappointment. But when Socrates was sentenced to death for his philosophical investigations and for blasphemy, for challenging the gods of the city, and he accepted his death, he did say, well, if we are lucky, perhaps I'll be able to hold conversation with other great thinkers and philosophers and doubters too. In other words, that the discussion about what is good, what is beautiful, what is noble, what is pure and what is true could always go on. Why is that important? Why would I like to do that? Because that's the only conversation worth having. And whether it goes on or not after I die, I don't know. But I do know that it's the conversation I want to have while I'm still alive, which means that to me, the offer of certainty, the offer of complete security, the offer of an impermeable faith that can't give way, is an offer of something not worth having. I want to live my life taking the risk all the time that I don't know anything like enough yet, that I haven't understood enough, that I can't know enough, that I'm always hungrily operating on the margins of a potentially great harvest of future knowledge and wisdom. I wouldn't have it any other way. And I'd urge you to look at those of you who tell you, those people who tell you at your age that you're dead till you believe as they do. What a terrible thing to be telling to children. And that you can only live, and that you can only live by accepting an absolute authority. Don't think of that as a gift. Think of it as a poisoned chalice. Push it aside, however tempting it is. Take the risk of thinking for yourself. Much more happiness, truth, beauty, and wisdom will come to you that way. Thank you.
I think it might be worth explaining. This has clearly had an impact. There's been numerous postings of this particular clip on YouTube and other places. So it obviously has a lot of impact on other people as well. But I wanted to explain why it had a particular impact on me, coming from a Christian background. My very Catholic mother, who used to be Protestant before she converted, was taught me Christian apologetics growing up, because I was homeschooled, and that was one of the things we learned about philosophy. I don't know if you're familiar, maybe some of you humanists aren't familiar with Francis Schaeffer, who's sort of wrote the book on modern Christian apologetics in many respects. And we also studied Socrates. And I was really impressed by Socrates. And here was a person who had no contact with any sort of Judeo-Christian anything, and wasn't aware, but he was aware that whatever the gods and times of the day wasn't satisfying to him, and that there was clearly something else out there, and of course was harshly treated because of it. And I remember asking my youth minister at the time whether Socrates was in heaven, and of course he didn't have any clue, because the Bible doesn't allow for such invocations. But I think that had a tremendous impact on me, and I think that to explain why atheism is so compelling to me, or what atheism offered me, or agnosticism offers me, is it offers me epistemological humility and an order to my mind that Christianity no longer can offer me. I want to be, as you say, when you believe in a religion, virtually every religion requires faith. It requires you to have this sort of epistemological certitude about it, which you don't have for other things. And I don't have for other things, and I don't see why I should be epistemologically humble and have a high degree but not absolute degree of certainty in certain situations, but when it comes to religion, that I must have a metaphysical certainty that rises above my own human existence. I just don't understand why that would be the case. And it seems to me that that metaphysical certainty that religion demands is almost a dead giveaway, that it shouldn't be taken seriously. Hitchens also rams home this point earlier in the debate when he talks about faith versus apologetics, which is one of, I think, a pretty effective critique as well. And I did want to show you that clip, so here it is.
Be a little uneasy at arguments of this kind that try and wrench evidence into theological shape. This is my question for you to ponder, where's the need for faith in that case? If it can be proved in the same way as a proposition of mine has to be proved or has to fall, what need for faith? What need for the suffering, the struggle to achieve faith and maintain it? There'd be no need for faith if there really was evidence, would there? I'd love to know how you bridge this gap.
In other words, humanists can posit a counterfactual. Supposing that there was a theory of Christianity which made predictions about the human race, which were found to be true, and that there were no predictions in the Bible that could be falsified. For example, the Gospel of Mark contains a phrase that says that Christians that drink poison won't be harmed by it. So obviously, if you could find a Christian that was poisoned, then that would disprove the prediction in Mark. But supposing we were to treat it as such, supposing that we were to treat it as a postulation instead of the smoke and mirrors that, for example, I find it to be, why would we need faith? Why would we need this sort of metaphysical certainty that I was talking about earlier? Why do we need to have this leap from the evidence, why can't we just regard it this alongside the same way we regard other things? And it doesn't seem to me that there's any reason for this other than the threat that if you don't, you're going to hell. And I'm sorry, I just don't think that that's a reason to believe. I mean, that seems to me to be evidence of somebody that doesn't want you to question, doesn't want you to critique, doesn't want you to actually find out that you're just being fed a load of baloney.